Hey boys. Ah Nico Williams just signed a 10-year long contract with Athletic Club and raised his release clause to like 90 million euros. Sorry, my bad. Damn. Yo, okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Good morning to everybody, or bad morning, or whatever. Hello. I didn't think this was going to happen. Obviously, I would not have made that video on the main channel if it weren't the case, but shit happens nowadays, and I think there's some stuff we can learn about this and kind of understand the situation we're in right now. And it does kind of slap me in the face and give me a little realization of where this club actually is financially in terms of making big moves that require some sort of guarantees. So, in case you guys didn't know, Nico had confirmed a salary, had made it apparent that he had all willingness to join Barcelona. I don't think that the news that I was looking at was false, or the stuff that we were talking about online, we're seeing on Twitter. I don't think it was wrong, but this is something I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, there was just a lot of stuff that I guess couldn't be guaranteed. Fabrizio here said Nico Williams signs a new long-term deal at Athletic Club until June 2035. Barcelona's deal is off due to registration reasons. I guess the exact same thing from last year from Fab, and I'm not really surprised. I mean, I am surprised. I didn't think it was going to happen, or I wouldn't have made that video. People keep pointing out this Johan Cruyff tweet to me, right, where he's like, I have second thoughts. If you have second thoughts of playing for Barca, you're no longer of service to us. Fairs, to be fair, my guy, who knew? Cruyff knew a thing or two. But yeah, so it had to do with his registration. Again, Barcelona couldn't give them a guarantee that he would be a Barcelona player, which is interesting to me. I think my understanding is that basically Nico wants to either play at Athletic Club or play for Barcelona right now. And if it's not 100% apparent that he's going to play for Barcelona, because if he leaves the Basque Country, he's not being accepted back. We heard a lot of shit being talked about him. The fans were crashing out. And so he wasn't going to be accepted back. Because if he wasn't going to be able to be registered, he would have to leave on a free, or that's what he wanted. And I think that was one of the issues between him and between his agents and Barcelona's financial Deco, Laporta, the money boys, or the broke boys, whatever you want to call them. So he just didn't get enough guarantees that he could be registered and get enough, I guess, leeway in his contracts that would let him be not registered. And so he chose another direction. And I understand that as someone, who works a job, has to deal with money and everything. I understand having that guarantee. But now he's going to be at Athletic Club for 10 years until he's 32, and has a 90 million, 100 million euro release clause, which is a lot, but also if he becomes world class, that's understandably affordable, honestly. It is tough when it has to be paid in full at one point and it's not a release clause, because clubs don't really come up with money that quickly anymore. But that's besides the point. Barcelona got to focus somewhere else now. Right? We're seeing talk. This makes Marcus Rashford seem like a lot more sense. I don't think he's the best because he's not really a touchline winger. He's more of a second striker, kind of like what Rafinha does, and I think he could do a job on the wing. I don't think it's the best option. Maybe you could buy a youngster. We're in a little bit of a weird spot right now because it doesn't. I don't know if there's a guy that fits perfectly well that's as high quality as Nico was, honestly. Like, there are good wingers. I don't think Luis Diaz is still one that's a big option. I don't think he's the greatest because Liverpool don't want to let him go, and especially with the environment that's around Liverpool right now after Diego Jota's passing, which was absolutely heartbreaking to see. I posted about it on Instagram, but it's crazy. And it's kind of beautiful to see the way the football community kind of comes together for a second, because everyone's at each other's throats all the time. So it's nice to see. But main point here, we kind of need to shift focus somewhere. It's probably not going to be Luis Diaz. And I would fully expect it to be Rashford and potentially a youngster. Main problem here that I want to look into here is what I bookmarked right when we started here, which is this tweet from Arthur Melista, which is some Dutch, French, contre-pied, commune en penalty, bien tiré. I think this is a Catalan analyst or something like that. So Nico Williams' deal confirms one thing. This management is incapable of signing a player whose agent is not a close ally / friend of Laporta. This makes a lot of sense to me, where Barcelona, they need to have really strong relationships with anyone to get a deal across, because there's a lot of uncertainty. And so having that kind of friendship guarantee or understanding will make you a little bit comfortable with a weird situation. It didn't with Nico, because his agent was not one of the guys that has been long dealing with Barcelona. Like Jorge Mendes is the first one that comes to mind. There are a few other guys as well that are really close, like have a really good relationship with these guys. That'll probably make it easier. I think Luis Diaz is, because he has a really good relationship with Deco. I think Deco was his agent or something. I don't know. I'm wrong there. It's something like that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not really sure. I don't think it's going to be Luis Diaz. I think Rashford will probably come now because it makes more sense. It'll also be on a loan, which is easier to get across. I don't know what's going to happen, though. And it's going to be less than ideal. But again, I don't think Nico was perfect. And he was a pretty good option, though. But whatever, guys. It sucks. I'm sorry that I made that video and I was wrong. But sometimes stuff like that happens. And in the business that I'm in, it's more beneficial to be the first guy that pulls the trigger and is wrong than doesn't pull it at all. And I think we still learned stuff in that video, whether or not I was wrong, because I did talk about how he was being registered and hoping that he was getting it across. But it is what it is. And I do want to just take a second to say anyone in the U.S. that is either an immigrant or a kid of an immigrant, I hope you're safe and you're okay. I haven't really talked too much political stuff, but it's gotten to a place where I got to mention it, because I know a lot of my viewers are South Americans that live in Florida or live in, Southern America, and, are recent entries to the country, or Europeans that just came here too. And I don't like what is going on in this country right now, and it's really hard to see, and I'm so sorry that a lot of you have to deal with it. There's nothing really I can do. I didn't vote for Trump. I don't really like what he's doing and at all, and I'm sorry that some of you guys have to deal with it. That's all. I just wanted to put my heart out there, because I know a lot of my viewers are probably dealing with a lot of shit right now. So figured I'd throw my heart out there for you guys. But yeah, weird situation we're in. We'll see what happens. It's gonna be a less clean summer than I thought, but it is what it is. Later, everybody.